Let's be fair in the chronology of events, okay? The former president spoke yesterday for the first time to the media. We've been looking for him, we've been asking, can we interview this for? He has not been available. He spoke yesterday, he was available to the media. But this is after the events of the weekend.
And look at
so
this,
chronologically,
Eric.
let's start with what happened to actually smoke out Uhuru Kenyatta.
And this is happening because I've said the former president is engaging in local politics, and allegations have been made of him funding Maandamano that has been happening in the last 3 weeks.
Why would a government make allegations?
When the
National Security Council, right, has the constitutional mandate to consume intelligence, has a constitutional mandate to advise the president and other security organs on what to do, the actions to take. The people who sit in the National Security Council include the Inspector General of Police,
Eric,
who has the mandate, constitutional mandate, to enforce law and order.
Eric,
so if you're consuming intelligence that tells you that Essie Okinyuri is funding unrest in the country, you have the power as the IG of police to take action.
Let me ask you.
To order proper investigations, to take this to the DPP, let the DPP take this to court. Why are we discussing this in political rallies?
Let me ask you, Eric, if those allegations are false, why hasn't the former head of state come out to call out what his brother is doing, even to consult on the signature collection?
Making allegations, that would be something we can discuss. This is the National Security Council.
And he should come out to
members of the National Security Council saying it. Why are they telling us? Why can't they take action?
I still insist, the former head of state should come out and refute such allegations. If he doesn't do that, we deem them true. Because he says the Right Honorable Raila Odinga is his party leader. When your party leader is going to an extent of doing what you think is not right as a peace envoy, why don't you call him out? Or else we assume you're one and the same.
Okay. Yesterday in the press conference, the former president actually said, I have not been involved in the Maandamano. On Friday, when the police were when the media was at his home, at his son's home, and he was asked that question, he said, have you seen me? Have you even heard me making comments about what's going on in the country?
Eric,
so he has responded. He has refuted the allegations. Are we going to hear the end of it now?
Eric, it's time Right Honorable Raila Odinga and former President Uhuru Kenyatta realize they are not core principles of the current President Ruto. Yeah.
The question that I'd like to raise
is
we move on into the next
one. Why it is bad manners.
On that issue. The kind of institutions that we are building, with just 13 years into a new constitution, with 60 years in independence, and the institutions that we have in place, how does it sit? How does this public spat between two leaders who are still powerful in terms of they still have political clout in the country, how does it sit for our democracy? And I want to start with you, Senator.
Eric, if you would ask me, I started by saying no one is actually above the law. If people followed and obeyed the rule of law, then it wouldn't even be about President Ruto, it wouldn't be about former President Kenyatta, it wouldn't be about me as a senator, it wouldn't be about any other ordinary person. If guys were actually following our constitution, and our current constitution actually caters for most of these issues we are now dealing with. Look, Eric, we had elections, there was an outcome which was contested at the Supreme Court. The matter was canvassed extensively, and the winner was declared. But you have an opponent who refuses to accept the outcome of that result. How do you deal with that individual? I do not expect you to answer me, but those are some of the issues we are dealing with. If such an opponent would be respecting the institutions we have, Because really, we have a law in this country, and we say when you don't agree with the election result, you can challenge the outcome at the Supreme Court. After that, the winner is sworn in. But you can see what our case is in Kenya. So such issues, I maybe would need to call out every other leader in this country to respect the institutions we have. And I would commend President Ruto. He swore to actually stand with our constitution, and he's done that even when we've had court orders going against some of his proposals. He's not come out to challenge what the courts have ruled. He has actually let the court process take its own route. Okay. At this point, the challenge we are having, if I would say, currently, there's new leaders say they do not recognize Ruto's presidency. So if you don't even recognize him as an individual, then recognize the office of the president. The moment you will do that, then we will not have people want to lecture a sitting president, wanting to give advice. We honestly need to maintain sanity. In as much as it's a tricky balance, we need to maintain sanity and respect. And like I said, it's time, right, Honorable Raila Odinga and the former president agree and acknowledge that really President Ruto was elected by the majority. He's now serving Kenyans. And if I make reference to the tweet he just did a few hours ago, you know, he's going to open up and create more linkages in Tanzania for our citizens in Kenya to benefit. So for him, he has no time for engaging in petty sideshows. He's been very open-minded. In fact, from the very first day he was sworn into office, he started welcoming delegations from Nyanza, Central, even from the worst enemies whom you wouldn't imagine he would engage. That's the kind of person we are talking about here, Eric.
Gabriel. Eric, I told you, for there to be an agreement, if all of us are going to agree, and here I'm talking about our ideas of our current state.
Yes.
We cannot run away from how the current president was mistreated in the past 5 years. Yes. You cannot run away from that.
That's true.
Secondly, there has to be acceptance that the person the former President Uhuru Kenyatta supported did not win. That has to ring and that has to register home. And that's why I'm saying the level of acceptability must supersede this desire of always wanting to be in the face of each and every little thing that is going wrong in this country. You asked a very good question, and you asked Senator here the issue of NSAC. If they had this intelligence that that's what was happening, why didn't they reach out? No. I would have expected, out of the current president being magnanimous with the former during the swearing in, I'd have expected the person who is the peace envoy within our region to have called the Azimio leader, because this is an issue he had a problem with in 2017. And so we need to find another way of reaching out and giving peace a chance, because in any way, of course, there was the bipartisan talk where the senator is a member.
But how do you know Uhuru hasn't reached out to Raila?
I don't think, I can guarantee you.
How do you know?
They can guarantee you, because I told you, there was something he did in Nyanza when they came from the barrier of the former CS for education. That in itself, even though he had his rights, it was an honor. He should not have done that. Similarly, when he calls a press conference, and I know you will say, oh, he had the rights, because you cannot be seen to appear as if you're chastising somebody who you have really disrespected, and you have to use that word, for the past so many years. And that's why I'm saying most of us supported the former president, Uhuru. At one point, we were in the Jubilee Brigade. We supported him, all right? But the level of acceptability when you have lost to the person you highly disenfranchise. I know it is hard for you to accept, but something must go beyond that level of saying, this is my party leader. Yet, when there's an issue that you know very well is a threat to peace, you cannot talk to your party leader, then that suggests, like the senator is saying, many people will believe that you're in it. Let me tell you.
I want you to address the question that is what's going around now. We have a constitution, we've got institutions,
right,
and we are seeing what's happening.